Ambassador Crixtal stood outside the human government building on New Houston, his crystalline body shaking with fear and shame. For 3,000 years, his people had ruled this part of the galaxy. The Zephyrians were known for their wisdom, their perfect cities, and their advanced technology. Now, he was here to beg the humans for help. The crystal rot was killing his people. It started small, like tiny cracks in their crystal skin. Then it spread, turning their beautiful bodies into crumbling dust. Millions were already dead. Billions more would die soon. The greatest minds in the galaxy had tried to help and failed. Crixtal walked through the doors of the building. Human guards nodded at him politely. He had expected them to laugh or turn him away. Instead, they treated him with respect. A young human woman with brown hair smiled at him. "Ambassador Crixtal, Governor Thompson is waiting for you," she said. Her voice was calm and friendly. The meeting room was simple compared to grand halls of other species. Governor Jake Thompson sat at a plain wooden table. He was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes. Next to him sat Dr. Lisa Martinez, a woman with dark hair and a white coat. There were a few other humans in the room, but they all looked normal and ordinary. "Please sit down," Governor Thompson said. "We heard about your problem. Tell us what happened." Crixtal felt surprised. Most species made him wait for hours or days before meeting with him. Some never met with him at all. The humans seemed genuinely interested in listening. "My people are dying," Crixtal began. His voice was like the sound of wind through crystal caves. "The crystal rot is destroying us. It spreads through our bodies and turns us to dust. Our greatest scientists cannot stop it." Dr. Martinez leaned forward. "How long has this been happening?" 6 months, Crixtal replied. "It started on our homeworld and spread to our colonies. We have tried everything. Our medical technology is thousands of years ahead of most species, but nothing works." "What about other species? Have they tried to help?" Governor Thompson asked. Crixtal's body dimmed with sadness. "We went to the Ethereal Collective first. They are known as the smartest beings in the galaxy. They studied us for weeks with their quantum computers and advanced scanners. Then they told us the problem was impossible to solve." He paused, remembering the shame of that moment. The ethereal leader said our crystal rot was beyond their understanding. They said it worked in ways that broke the laws of science. Dr. Martinez made notes on a simple paper pad. Crixtal noticed she was not using any advanced technology, just a pen and paper. "What about the Vorthan Confederation?" "They felt sorry for us," Crixtal said. "Their healers tried their best medicines. They used energy treatments and genetic therapy. Nothing worked. They said they had never seen anything like the crystal rot before." "The quantum architects?" asked another human in the room. Crixtal's light flickered with pain. "They would not even see us. They sent a message saying that lower species problems were not their concern. They suggested we accept our fate with dignity." The humans in the room looked at each other. Governor Thompson's face showed anger at the quantum architect's response. "That's terrible," Dr. Martinez said. "No one should be abandoned when they need help." Crixtal felt something he had not felt in months. Hope. These humans seemed to actually care about his people's suffering. "We have tried 17 different species," Crixtal continued. "The best doctors, the most advanced scientists, the oldest and wisest races in the galaxy. All of them failed. Many would not even try." Dr. Martinez asked, "Can you show us what the crystal rot looks like?" Crixtal carefully removed a small crystal from his body. Even this tiny piece made him weak, but he needed the humans to understand. The crystal was dark and cracked, with black lines running through it like a disease. "This is healthy crystal for my body," he said, showing them a bright, clear piece. "And this is what the rot does to us." The infected crystal looked dead and broken. Dr. Martinez examined both pieces carefully. She held them up to the light and looked at them from different angles. Then she did something that shocked Crixtal. She sniffed them. She said. "Jake, this reminds me of something, but I can't put my finger on it." Governor Thompson looked at the crystals too. "What do you think, Lisa?" "I need to run some tests, but I have an idea. It's probably crazy, but..." Dr. Martinez trailed off. still studying the infected crystal. Crixtal felt confused. The humans were not using any advanced equipment. They were just looking at the crystals with their eyes. How could this possibly help when the greatest minds in the galaxy had failed? "Ambassador," Governor Thompson said, "we can't promise anything, but we'll do our best to help your people." "You will try?" Crixtal asked, hardly believing it, even though the ethereal collective said it was impossible. "Just because something seems impossible doesn't mean it is," Dr. Martinez said with a smile. "Sometimes the answer is simpler than we think. But your technology is not as advanced as the other species," Crixtal said, then immediately felt bad for being rude. "I mean no offense." Governor Thompson laughed. "None taken. You're right. We're not the most advanced species out there. But maybe that's not always a bad thing." As Crixtal left the building, he felt more confused than ever. The humans had not promised miracle cures or impossible solutions. They had just listened to his problem and promised to try their best. After months of being turned away by the galaxy's greatest civilizations, this simple kindness felt like a miracle itself. He looked back at the plain government building and wondered if he had made a mistake. Could these simple humans really succeed where the most advanced species have failed? Part of him doubted it, but another part of him dared to hope that Dr. Lisa Martinez sat in her small laboratory, staring at the crystal samples that Ambassador Crixtal had left behind. The infected piece looked sick and broken, while the healthy crystals sparkled like a diamond. She had been studying them for 3 days now, but not in the way other species might expect. Instead of using quantum scanners or molecular analyzers, she treated the crystals like any other medical problem she had seen on Earth. She looked at them under a simple microscope, tested their reactions to basic chemicals, and even touched them to see how they felt. Dr. Sam Johnson knocked on her door and walked in. He was a colony's veterinarian, a friendly man who took care of all the animals on New Houston. Most people thought it was strange that Lisa had asked him to help, but she had her reasons. "Any luck with your space rocks?" Sam asked with a grin. "Don't call them that in front of Crixtal," Lisa laughed. "But actually, yes. Look at this." She showed Sam the microscope view of the infected crystal. Dark lines spread through it like cracks in old concrete. "You know what this looks like to me?" Sam said, adjusting the microscope. "It looks like hoof-rotting cattle. Same kind of spreading pattern. Same way it eats away at healthy tissue." Lisa nodded excitedly. "That's exactly what I was thinking. And you know how we treat hoof rot, right? Clean it out, disinfect it, keep it dry," Sam replied. "Basic stuff that any farmer knows." Dr. Amy Clark joined them in the lab. She was a colony's agriculture specialist, a woman who could grow anything in any soil. She had dirt under her fingernails and a practical look in her eyes. "Sorry I'm late," Amy said. "I was dealing with fungus in the cornfields." "What were we looking at?" Lisa showed her the crystal samples. Amy studied them for a moment, then made a face. "Oh, I've seen this before," she said. "Not in crystals, but in plants. This looks just like black spot fungus. See how it spreads in these dark lines? Same pattern exactly." The 3 humans looked at each other. They were seeing something that the galaxy's greatest minds had missed. The crystal rot was not some mysterious alien disease that broke the laws of science. It was just a fungus, or something very much like one. "So, if it's like a fungus," Sam said slowly, "then we should be able to treat it like a fungus." "With what?" Amy asked. "What do we use for plant fungus?" Lisa started writing on her notepad. "Vinegar solution for mild cases. Baking soda spray for tougher infections. Hydrogen peroxide for really bad ones." Amy nodded. "And for animals, Sam?" "Pretty much the same things, plus keeping the area clean and dry," Sam replied. "Basic disinfection." Just then, 3 ethereal scientists arrived at the lab. They were tall, glowing beings who thought they were the smartest creatures in the universe. Their leader, a being called Zexthal, looked around the simple human lab with obvious disgust. "This is where you are studying the crystal rot?" Zexthal asked. His voice sounded like music, but there was scorn in it. "Where are your quantum computers? Your molecular analyzers? Your genetic sequencers?" "We don't need them," Lisa said politely. We're treating this as a simple biological problem. The ethereals made sound that might have been laughter. Simple? The crystal rot is the most complex biological puzzle in the galaxy. It operates on 17 different dimensional levels simultaneously. Maybe, Amy said, but it still looks like fungus to me. Zexthol's glow flickered with anger. Fungus? You compare this quantum biological phenomenon to common fungus? This is why lower species should not attempt science beyond their understanding. Sam stepped forward. Well, we may be a lower species, but we know how to cure fungus. Do you? The ethereals left in a huff, muttering about primitive humans and their simple minds. Lisa, Sam, and Amy got back to work. Let's test our theory, Lisa said. We'll start with a tiny piece of infected crystal and try our fungus treatments on it. They carefully cut a small sample from Crickstal's infected crystal. Then they prepared 3 different solutions: vinegar and water, baking soda and water, and hydrogen peroxide. Each solution went into a separate dish with a piece of infected crystal. Now we wait, Amy said. While they waited, Pete Rodriguez stopped by the lab. He was a maintenance worker who kept all the colony's machines running. He was not a scientist, but he was curious about everything. Hey, Doc, what are you working on? Pete asked Lisa. Trying to cure an alien disease, she replied. We think it might be like fungus. Pete looked at the crystals and the solutions. You know, I've seen something like this before. When the air filters get that black stuff growing on them, same kind of spreading pattern. What do you use to clean that? Sam asked. Just regular cleaning spray, Pete said. The stuff we use to clean the floors and equipment. Works great. Lisa's eyes lit up. Pete, can you bring us some of that cleaning spray? Sure thing. Document. Pete returned with a bottle of common industrial cleaner, the kind used in every human facility in the galaxy. Lisa added a few drops to a 4th dish with infected crystal. The results were immediate and amazing. In the dish with cleaning spray, the dark lines in the crystals started to fade. Within an hour, they were completely gone. The crystal looked healthy again. Well, Sam said softly. It worked. Amy stared at the results. The most complex biological puzzle in the galaxy, solved with floor cleaner. Lisa picked up her communication device to call Governor Thompson. Jake, we need to talk. And we need to get Captain Foster ready for a trip to Zephyros Prime. The 3 humans looked at their simple solutions and smiled. Sometimes the best answers were the ones hiding in plain sight. Captain Ryan Foster guided his cargo ship Lucky Break through the space around Zephyros Prime. Warning signals flashed on every communication channel. The planet was under strict quarantine. No ships were supposed to come or go. The crystal rot had spread so fast that the entire world was considered lost. Ryan ignored the warnings. In his cargo hold, he carried bottles of vinegar, baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, and industrial cleaning spray. To most people in the galaxy, this would look like cleaning supplies. To the dying Zephyrians below, it might be the difference between life and death. This is Zephyrian Defense Command. Came a weak voice on the radio. Unknown ship. You're entering a quarantine zone. Turn back immediately for your own safety. This is Captain Foster from New Houston Colony, Ryan replied. I'm carrying medical supplies from the humans. Ambassador Crickstal requested our help. There was a long pause. Medical supplies? What kind of medical supplies? Ryan looked at his cargo manifest and tried not to laugh. Cleaning products, mostly. Another pause, longer this time. Captain Foster, our people are dying by the millions. If this is some kind of joke... No joke, Ryan said firmly. The humans found a cure. Trust me, I know how it sounds, but they really did it. The Zephyrian ships let him pass. As Ryan flew toward the planet's surface, he could see the damage the crystal rot had caused. Entire cities looked dark and broken. The beautiful crystal spires that the Zephyrians were famous for had turned black and crumbled. Dr. Lisa Martinez and her team had come with Ryan on the ship. She looked out the window at the dying planet and felt her heart break. So many people were suffering while the galaxy's greatest minds had given up on them. We have to make this work, she said to her team. Nurse Kelly Brown nodded beside her. Kelly had volunteered to come even though it was dangerous. She believed in what they were trying to do. They landed at the main medical center in the capital city. High Healer Veltoth met them at the landing pad. He was an old Zephyrian whose crystal body was covered in cracks from the rot. He was dying, but he still tried to help his people. "You are the humans?" Veltoth asked. His voice was weak and full of pain. "We are," Lisa replied. "We think we can help your people." Veltoth led them into the medical center. The sight inside was heartbreaking. Hundreds of Zephyrians lay on beds, their crystal bodies slowly crumbling to dust. The medical staff looked exhausted and hopeless. They had watched so many people die and could do nothing to stop it. "Show us your treatment," Veltoth said. Lisa opened her case of supplies. The Zephyrian doctors gathered around, expecting to see advanced technology. Instead, they saw bottles that looked like household cleaners. "This is your cure?" asked a young Zephyrian doctor named Kelda. "These are cleaning products." "That's right," Lisa said. "The crystal rot is basically a fungus. We treat it the same way we treat fungus on Earth." The Zephyrian doctors looked at each other in shock. Some of them seemed angry. They had spent months watching their people die while working with the most advanced medical technology in the galaxy. Now humans were telling them the cure was cleaning supplies. "This is insulting," Kelda said. "We are not fools. We have tried every advanced treatment known to science." "I know," Lisa said gently, "but sometimes the simplest answer is the right one. Let me show you." Lisa took out a small spray bottle filled with vinegar and water. She approached the Zephyrian patient whose arm was black with crystal rot. The patient, an elderly female named Isaviera, looked up at her with fading eyes. "May I try our treatment on you?" Lisa asked. Isaviera nodded weakly. "I am dying anyway. What harm can it do?" Lisa carefully sprayed the vinegar solution on the infected part of Isaviera's arm. The Zephyrian doctors watched with skeptical faces. They expected nothing to happen. But something did happen. Within minutes, the dark lines in Isaviera's crystal skin began to fade. The black rot started to disappear. Her arm slowly returned to its natural, clear color. Isaviera stared at her arm in amazement. "The pain is gone," she whispered. "The rot is gone." The medical center went completely silent. Every doctor and nurse stared at Isaviera's healed arm. After months of watching people die, they were seeing someone get better. "How is this possible?" Veltoth asked, his voice shaking. Kelly Brown stepped forward with another bottle. "This is hydrogen peroxide. It works even faster on severe cases." She treated another patient, a young Zephyrian named Tolvaz, whose entire chest was covered in crystal rot. The hydrogen peroxide worked like magic. The infection disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. Soon, patients all over the medical center were volunteering for the human treatment. Engineer Tony Parker helped the Zephyrians set up simple mixing stations to make more cleaning solutions. It was not complicated technology. Any species in the galaxy could have done it. Dr. Martinez worked alongside Kelly Brown, treating patient after patient. The vinegar solution worked for mild cases. Baking soda spray helped with moderate infections. Hydrogen peroxide cured even the worst cases. The industrial cleaner that Pete Rodriguez had suggested worked fastest of all. Word spread quickly through the city. Humans had brought a cure that actually worked. People who had been preparing to die were getting up from their beds, healthy again. High Healer Veltoth treated himself with a hydrogen peroxide solution. As the cracks in his ancient body healed, tears fell from his crystal eyes. "We are saved," he said. "The humans have saved us all." But Lisa Martinez was thinking about something bigger. If the crystal rot was really just a fungus, why had the Zephyrians never seen it before? And why did it spread so fast? There was still a mystery to solve. 3 weeks after cure began spreading across Zephyros Prime, Ambassador Crixtal sat in the ancient library beneath the capital city. His body was completely healed now, glowed with a bright light that showed perfect health. But his mind was troubled by questions that kept him awake. Dr. Nancy Williams sat across from him, surrounded by old Zephyrian books and data crystals. She was a historian from New Houston, who had come to help solve the mystery of the crystal rot. Her gray hair was tied back in a simple ponytail, and her glasses reflected the glow from the ancient texts. "I don't understand," Crixtal said for the 100th time. "The crystal rot appeared from nowhere. Our people have lived for millions of years without ever seeing anything like it. How did a simple fungus suddenly become our greatest threat?" Nancy looked up from an old data crystal she was reading. "That's what I'm trying to figure out. But Crixtal, I don't think this fungus was natural. Look at this." She showed him a passage from an ancient Zephyrian text. The writing was so old that even Crixtal had trouble reading it. It spoke of something called the Great Cleansing that would come when the Empire grew too proud. "This was written by your ancestors 5 million years ago," Nancy said. "They talk about creating a weapon that would humble future generations if they forgot the lessons of past." Crixtal's light dimmed as he read the ancient words. "You think our own ancestors created the crystal rot?" "Not exactly," Nancy replied. "But I think they created something that led to it. Keep reading." The ancient text described how the early Zephyrians had built their empire through conquest and control. They had enslaved other species and destroyed entire worlds. But some of their wisest leaders worried that future generations would become too proud and repeat these mistakes. They created a biological failsafe, Nancy explained. Something hidden in your genetic code that would activate if your species ever became too arrogant and isolated. Crixtal felt sick as he read more. The crystal rot was designed to be unstoppable by any advanced technology. Our ancestors wanted to make sure that if it ever activated, we would have to humble ourselves and ask others for help. Nancy nodded sadly. They programmed it to resist quantum computers, molecular scanners, and genetic therapy. All the tools that advanced civilizations rely on. But they never imagined that someone would try to clean it away with soap and water. The irony was overwhelming. The Zephyrians had been brought to their knees by a weapon designed by their own ancestors. A weapon meant to teach them humility by forcing them to seek help from species they considered inferior. But why did it activate now? Crixtal asked. What triggered it? Nancy showed him more recent historical records. Over the past 1,000 years, the Zephyrian Empire had become more and more isolated. They had stopped trading with other species. They had refused to share their technology. They had begun to see themselves as superior to all other life in the galaxy. Your empire became exactly what your ancestors feared, Nancy said gently. Too proud to learn from others. Too arrogant to ask for help. The biological trigger activated when your species reached a certain level of isolation and pride. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, other alien species were quietly approaching human colonies with their own impossible problems. Word had spread about what the humans had done for the Zephyrians. The ethereal collective, who had declared the crystal rot unsolvable, now faced their own crisis. Their great quantum computer network had been infected by a virus that their best programmers could not remove. They swallowed their pride and asked the humans for help. Dr. Carol Adams, a computer expert from Earth, looked at their problem for exactly 5 minutes before suggesting they try turning the entire network off and on again. The ethereals were horrified by such a primitive solution, but when they tried it, the virus disappeared completely. The Vorthan Confederation had a different problem. Their space stations were being overrun by tiny robots that ate metal and reproduced rapidly. Their advanced weapons and energy shields were useless against the microscopic invaders. A human maintenance worker named Bobby Clark solved their problem with a simple magnetic field generator. The tiny robots were pulled into the magnetic field and destroyed. The Vorthans had never thought to try such a basic solution. Dr. Carol Adams began studying what she called the complexity trap. Advanced civilizations often assumed that difficult problems required equally complex solutions. They overlooked simple answers because they seemed too easy to be real. It's like looking for your glasses while wearing them, she explained to a group of alien scientists. Sometimes the thing you need is right in front of you, but you can't see it because you're looking too hard. Back on Zephyros Prime, Ambassador Crixtal was learning the final lesson his ancestors had intended. He stood before the Galactic Council, preparing to make a speech that would change how species interacted with each other. We have learned something important, he began. Wisdom does not come from having the most advanced technology. It comes from being willing to learn from anyone, no matter how simple their methods seem. He looked at the representatives from dozens of different species. Some were more advanced than humans, others less so, but all of them had something valuable to offer. The humans saved us not because they were smarter than ethereals or more advanced than the quantum architects. Crixtal continued. They saved us because they approached our problem with fresh eyes and humble hearts. The council chamber was completely quiet. Species that had ignored each other for centuries were beginning to realize what they had been missing. From this day forward, Crixtal said, the Zephyrian Empire will share our knowledge freely with all species. We will ask for help when we need it, and we will offer help to those who ask. Our ancestors' greatest lesson was that pride comes before the fall, but humility leads to wisdom. The speech would be remembered for generations as the moment the galaxy began to change. 0.6 months had passed since the crystal rot cure, and New Houston Colony looked very different now. Ships from dozens of alien species landed every day, bringing problems that their greatest minds could not solve. What had started as a desperate plea from the Zephyrians had become something much bigger. Governor Jake Thompson walked through the new Galactic Troubleshooting Center that had been built near the spaceport. The building was simple and practical, just like everything humans made. Inside, the most unlikely group of problem solvers in the galaxy worked side by side. Danny Cooper was in the engine repair bay, helping a quantum architect fix his starship. The ship's quantum drive had been making strange noises for weeks. The architect had run every advanced diagnostic test possible and found nothing wrong. Have you tried checking the spark plugs? Danny asked, wiping his hands on a greasy rag. The quantum architect looked confused. Spark plugs? But this is a quantum drive. It operates on principles beyond your understanding. Danny shrugged and popped open an access panel. Maybe, but engines are engines. They all need the same basic things to run right. He pulled out what looked like a spark plug, except it glowed with quantum energy. The part was covered in some kind of space grime. Yep, just like I thought, Danny said. When was the last time you cleaned these things? The quantum architect stared in disbelief. You mean the quantum resonance crystals need regular cleaning? Everything needs regular cleaning, Danny replied, wiping the crystal clean with a simple cloth. Try starting her up now. The engine hummed to life, running smoother than it had in years. The quantum architect stood there with his mouth open, watching a human mechanic solve a problem that had stumped the species' best engineers. In another part of the building, Mrs. Helen Davis was mediating a dispute between 3 different alien species. She was a kindergarten teacher who had volunteered to help with diplomatic problems. The 3 ambassadors had been arguing for hours about mining rights in a distant star system. Now, Mrs. Davis said in the same voice she used with her 5-year-old students. Everyone gets a turn to talk. Ambassador Flexi, you go first. Use your inside voice, please. The 3 powerful aliens found themselves following her simple rules without question. Within an hour, she had them working together on a solution that satisfied everyone. How did you do that? Asked Ambassador Vextal from the Ethereal Collective. Our professional diplomats have been trying to solve this dispute for months. Mrs. Davis smiled. Children fight about sharing toys. Adults fight about sharing planets. The solution is usually the same. Take turns and be nice to each other. Dr. Lisa Martinez was in the medical wing, treating a patient from a species called the Christek. They were suffering from a condition that their doctors said was incurable. Their scales were turning black and falling off. Lisa looked at the patient under her simple microscope. This looks like a vitamin deficiency to me. When was the last time you ate fresh vegetables? The Christek doctor was offended. We are carnivores. We do not eat plants. Maybe not on your home world, Lisa said, but you've been living on processed food during your long space voyage. Your body needs nutrients that only fresh plants can provide. She prescribed a simple solution: fresh spinach and carrots added to their diet. Within days, the Christek scales returned to their healthy green color. Pete Rodriguez had become famous throughout the galaxy as a human who solved the impossible robot plague with a magnet. Now he ran workshops teaching other species about basic maintenance and troubleshooting. The secret is to start simple he told a room full of alien engineers. Don't immediately jump to the most complicated solution. Try the easy stuff first. A student from the Vorthan Confederation raised her hand. But what if the easy solution seems too simple to work? Pete grinned. Then it's probably exactly what you need. I've fixed more problems with duct tape and a good smack than with any fancy tool. The aliens in the room took careful notes, treating Pete's simple wisdom like the most advanced scientific theory. Word of the human method had spread to every corner of the galaxy. Universities were teaching courses on practical problem solving and the value of simple solutions. The phrase, "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" had been translated into over 300 alien languages. But the biggest change was in how species treated each other. The old hierarchy based on technological advancement was breaking down. Species that had ignored each other for centuries were now working together and learning from each other. Ambassador Crixtal returned to New Houston to thank the humans personally. His people were completely healthy now, and the Zephyrian Empire had become one of the most cooperative civilizations in the galaxy. "You have given us more than just a cure for the crystal rot," he told Governor Thompson. "You have taught us that wisdom comes in many forms." Jake Thompson smiled. "We're just glad we could help. That's what neighbors do for each other." As they spoke, another ship landed at the spaceport. The crew was from a distant galaxy, and they looked desperate. Their leader approached Dr. Martinez with a familiar expression of hope mixed with shame. "Please," the alien said through a translator, "we have heard of your reputation. Our people are dying from a plague that our greatest scientists cannot cure. We know you are not the most advanced species, but we have nowhere else to turn." Dr. Martinez picked up her medical kit, which still contained the same simple supplies that had saved the Zephyrians: vinegar, baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, and cleaning spray sat next to more traditional medical tools. "Let me guess," she said with a knowing smile. "Have you tried cleaning it?" The alien looked confused. "Cleaning? But this is a complex biological phenomenon that operates on 17 different dimensional levels." Dr. Martinez had heard those exact words before. She opened her kit and pulled out a bottle of cleaning solution. "Well," she said, "let's start with the basics and see what happens." As she walked toward the alien ship, Dr. Martinez reflected on how much the galaxy had changed. Species that had once been too proud to ask for help now came seeking simple solutions. Problems that had seemed impossible were solved with everyday items. And the most important lesson of all had been learned. Sometimes the best answers were hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone humble enough to see them.